This Darasuram temple is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site, living temple. At a glance, it does look like a miniature version of the Brihadishvara. Airavatesvara, the Lord worshipped by the elephant Airavata. Very strong, as good coffee should be. Shiva defeats the three Asuras. That story, which was known, has been recreated in stone where it feels like the platform itself is a moving chariot. So there is something called the Yama Tirtha, which is the tank that is there behind these structures. Darasura. Who built Darasura? Rajaraja Chola II. He came at a time to power when the Chola energy and power was on the wane. Unlike the original Rajaraja Chola, when they were, defeating everybody left, right, and center, this time, almost 150 years later, Cholas were in a more subdued state with threats coming from the south, from the Madurai Pandyas, as well as from the north, from the Hoysalas. But still, Chola art, architecture, everything was alive. It was a sophisticated court. If you're going towards Mangalambika Tiffin Center after parking the car on the main road, and the restaurant is somewhere here. Mangalambika at Kumbakonam, they claim to have invented the famous Kumbakonam degree coffee. If true, we are entering a pretty historic place. I ordered a pongal. Very strong, as good coffee should be. This place was amazing. The dosa and the idli and the pongal. Pongal was outstanding. What a lovely experience. This sets the mood for the day. There is no question of scale here. There's no trumpeting of victories here because this temple was not built to celebrate military triumphs. Unlike both the temples at Gangaikonda Cholapuram as well as the original Brihadishvara, this is purely religious patronage, an act of devotion. The sculptures are smaller, but more. The details are more. In fact, some historians hold that this is Chola art and architecture at its best. And the height of the central Vimana, which is an imposing 216 feet in the original Rajaraja Chola's Brihadishvara Temple, here the Vimana height is 86 feet. So you're not going here to be impressed by scale and size and grandeur of that kind, but more like looking into little details and checking out the legends and stories behind that, and also why it is called the Airavatesvara Temple. This is the frontage, the East Gopuram, probably a little modest by the kind of standards we get used to in Tamil Nadu, but it's a very fine temple from the Cholas. For some reason, the front part of it, you need to get down a few steps and come down below the ground level a bit before you enter the main Gopuram. There is, of course, the Nandi right in front. You have just come through the entrance. It's what you come to Darasuram for. The famous Chariot temple. The details and carvings here are exquisite. You have the elephant, the war elephant, and this is the chariot drawn by a horse, and that's the pillared construction above. So what is this chariot for? And this chariot represents the chariot that Shiva here drove. I am in the chariot. I'm on top of the chariot. The chariot represents the earth, and it is drawn by the two wheels of the sun and the moon. And astride that chariot, Shiva defeats the three Asuras. That story, which was known, has been recreated in stone where it feels like the platform itself is a moving chariot because of the detailing on the axle, the spokes, the wheels, the elephants in motion, and the horses, of course. It's quite remarkable to see a story like that come alive in hard granite. There are the 108 Karanas, the poses of the Bharatanatyam as given in the Natyashastra, the official document of rules. So these are not general artistic free-form imitations of saying, hey, there are some people dancing. These are very specific moves. It's like a visual form to a dance manual. By the time these pillars were built, which already is 1,000 years ago, Natyashastra was already 1,500 years old. So these rules of an ancient art are seriously ancient. This hall is magnificent, with pillars after pillars of varying details, never repeating. This is what we mean when we say that you're seeing Chola art at its best, at its matured best. There's no showiness, just quiet art forms speaking for themselves. And that's the gateway we came by, and opposite, deep inside, is the main shrine of Airavatesvara, the elephant of Indra. This was a special elephant in the sense this elephant was white. Indra's elephant was a white elephant, not in the modern sense of it being expensive or difficult to upkeep, but literally the color was white and it was considered special. Now, there was a sage called Durvasa, known for his short-tempered outbursts, who cursed Airavata for some reason and made him into an ordinary black elephant. And Airavata was heartbroken, and he came to this temple, took a bath in the tank again and again while praying to Shiva continually. Shiva got him back his special status, got rid of his ordinariness, and made him white again. So the Shiva here, deep inside, difficult to see at this distance, and we can't be carrying a camera right into the inner sanctum. You can see that there are some lights in the far distance. That's the Shiva shrine. So that's why he's here called and known as Airavateswar, the Lord worshipped by the elephant Airavata. At a glance, it does look like a miniature version of the Brihadishwara, but it is really small. This is the view of the main Vimana seen from the southwest corner. But what strikes few is the detailed cultural designs all close to one another. According to the temple inscriptions, this temple was started, as we know, by Rajaraja Chola II, but he died young in his mid-30s. So the work was continued by Kulottunga Chola II. The nice thing is the inscriptions are there on the temple walls itself. So these solar temples are remarkable for writing down and maintaining in stone such details of history that future generations like us would love to know. And there is the recurring theme, which goes back even to the Pallavas of the Yali, lion-bodied, elephant-faced, and a mixture of many animals. There is another interesting legend concerning Darasuram, and that's to do with Yama, the god of death. It is said that, again, it was a sage called Shandilya, cursed Yama with a burning sensation being the curse. So Yama started feeling these constant burning sensations all over his body, and finding them unbearable, who wouldn't? He ran to Shiva. Here, he took a bath in the tank that is nearby, and he got himself cured by Shiva. So there is something called the Yama Tirtha, which is the tank that is there behind these structures. This is a small shrine and a structure at the back of the temple at the western end, and this has the Yama Mandap. There are 4 of these mandaps here, unfortunately kept locked. We don't know which exactly is the Yama Mandap, but one of them is. The third one is locked. People then knew about a certain group of Shaivite poet saints called the Nayanmars, the 63 Nayanmars. And during Rajaraja Chola II's time, there was a major poet called Sekkizhar in the 12th century who did a compilation of the lives of the 63 saints. That was called Periyapuranam, and that was a hagiography document on the lives of saints. If it was just ordinary people, it would be called biography. But if it was saints or holy people, then the same document is called a hagiography. So the hagiographies in general, as a literary form, tend to be full of praise, treating their protagonist being faultless or near perfect. So in any case, Sekkizhar's Periyapuranam was around the time that this temple was built, which talked and gave a lot of details of the lives of the 63 Nayanmars. Fascinating thing is, the architects of this place and the stoneworkers created those 63 lives all around the temple. Like the other two Chola temples at Kulottunga Chola II and Rajaraja, this Darasuram temple is also a UNESCO World Heritage site, living temple. This is not as living as really crowded Bharatanatyam temple. That is a buzzing and live place. This, although it is just off Kumbakonam, which in itself is a huge land of temples, and yet for all that, this temple has, let's say, a modest share of devotees. Not sure why, but it's fairly empty most of the time. This never gets as crowded, although it's as beautiful, if not more intricate, than the gigantic one in Tanjavur. Watch the next video on the big temple at Tanjavur.